The first signals came quietly, a distant whisper of something impossibly large approaching. Deep within the global monitoring station nestled in the Andes Mountains, Dr. Elena Rodriguez traced the anomalous data patterns across her holographic display. Her fingers moved with practiced precision, filtering through layers of cosmic background noise, isolating fragments of information that shouldn't exist. Outside the station's reinforced windows, the mountain landscape stretched into infinity, a stark reminder of how small humanity truly was in the vast cosmic arena. Elena's team worked in hushed concentration, their breath creating tiny clouds in the climate-controlled environment. Each specialist represented a different discipline: quantum physics, xenolinguistics, advanced computational theory, and interstellar communication. The anomaly first appeared as a microscopic disturbance in long-range sensor arrays. Most would have dismissed it as a simple technical glitch, a momentary interference in the complex web of human observation systems that circled the solar system. But Elena knew better. Her entire career had been built on understanding the subtle whispers of the universe, the tiny inconsistencies that others overlooked. "Samuel," she called to her lead communications specialist, "run a multi-spectrum analysis on these signal fragments." Samuel Chen adjusted his neural interface, holographic displays dancing around his workspace. His fingers moved in complex gestures, pulling apart the cosmic data like a surgeon dissecting the most delicate of specimens. Years of training at the Global Space Exploration Institute had prepared him for moments like these, moments when the unknown pressed against the boundaries of human understanding. The monitoring station hummed with anticipation. This was no ordinary research day. Something fundamental was changing, and they could all feel it. Hours passed. The team worked in synchronized silence, each bringing their unique expertise to unravel the mystery. Solar observation satellites, deep space communication networks, and quantum entanglement sensors all contributed their data. Slowly, a terrifying picture began to emerge. What they discovered was beyond anything humanity had imagined. The signal patterns suggested the approach of a massive technological network, something so advanced that it made human communication systems look like primitive smoke signals. Intricate mathematical sequences wove through the data, revealing a level of complexity that suggested not just technology, but a civilization with millennia of technological evolution behind it. "It's a detection network," Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, Elena's brother and the team's quantum physics expert, said quietly. His holographic models showed massive sensor arrays that could track technological development across entire galactic sectors. "They're not just observing, they're assessing." The implications were chilling. Humanity had long speculated about first contact, but the scientific community had always imagined a peaceful diplomatic engagement. This was something entirely different. This was a systematic scanning of emerging civilizations, with the clear implication of potential elimination. Elena's team worked faster now. They began correlating the signal data with historical astronomical records, searching for patterns. What they found suggested a terrifying truth. This network had been quietly monitoring technological civilizations for thousands of years. And its method of engagement was brutally simple: identify potential threats, assess their technological capacity, and neutralize them before they could become a galactic challenge. "We're being judged," Marcus whispered, his quantum models revealing increasingly complex layers of the alien detection system. "And we might already be found wanting." The global scientific community needed to be alerted. But how do you explain a threat that exists beyond traditional understanding? How do you prepare a species for a potential extinction event that operates on principles far beyond current human comprehension? Elena looked at her team. They were humanity's first line of defense, not with weapons, but with understanding. Their task was to decode a language of technological intention that no human had ever encountered before, to find a way to communicate, to negotiate, or, if necessary, to survive. As the sun set over the Andes, casting long shadows across the monitoring station, the first warning signals continued to pulse. Humanity's greatest challenge was approaching, and no one was truly prepared for what was coming. The global scientific community fractured and reassembled within hours of receiving Elena's initial report. Emergency conferences erupted across multiple continents, with leaders from every scientific discipline converging through advanced holographic communication networks. What had begun as a mysterious signal was rapidly transforming into humanity's most critical moment of existential challenge. Dr. Camara Williams, head of the International Space Defense Council, projected a massive holographic model of the alien detection network. Her dark eyes reflected the intricate web of quantum connections that stretched across multiple star systems. "This is not just a technological system," she explained to the gathered experts. "It's a living network of computational intelligence that has been tracking emerging civilizations for thousands of years." The hologram shifted, showing historical data points. Entire civilizations marked in soft red indicators, civilizations that had been systematically neutralized before reaching interstellar capabilities. The pattern was horrifyingly consistent. Any technological society that showed signs of rapid advancement would be carefully assessed and then eliminated before becoming a potential threat. Marcus Rodriguez worked feverishly, developing computational models that might help understand the alien network's decision-making processes. His quantum algorithms attempted to decode the fundamental logic behind the detection system. Each breakthrough revealed another layer of complexity that seemed almost organic in its adaptability. "They're not just using technology," Marcus explained to his sister. "This network thinks. It evaluates. It makes decisions based on probabilistic threat assessments that go beyond simple computational logic." The global response was unprecedented. Research facilities that had previously competed now collaborated with an intensity born of shared survival instinct. Quantum physicists worked alongside xenobiologists. Computer engineers collaborated with linguistic experts. Every discipline became a potential weapon in understanding the approaching threat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez established a new kind of research center, a distributed network of the world's most brilliant minds. No single location would house their collective intelligence. Instead, they created a global adaptive research platform that could rapidly share information and develop strategies. Military strategists began reimagining defense protocols. Traditional approaches of technological superiority gave way to more nuanced strategies of adaptability and creative problem-solving. They recognized that conventional weapons would be useless against a civilization capable of detecting and neutralizing threats before they could fully develop. International space agencies accelerated their exploration programs. Missions that would have taken decades were now fast-tracked. Underground research facilities were converted into advanced technological development centers. Every global resource was being redirected toward understanding and potentially surviving the approaching threat. The first concrete evidence of the alien network's capabilities came unexpectedly. Communication satellites began experiencing bizarre interference patterns. Global positioning systems showed intermittent failures. Power grids experienced microscopic disruptions that suggested something was probing humanity's technological infrastructure. "They're not just watching," Camara noted during an emergency briefing. "They're testing our systems, measuring our technological responses. Each of these disruptions is a form of assessment." Universities worldwide transformed their research priorities. Entire departments were reorganized to focus on adaptive technologies, quantum communication, and advanced computational theories. Students who had been studying theoretical physics suddenly found themselves on the front lines of humanity's most critical research initiative. Marcus's breakthrough came from an unexpected direction. By studying the interference patterns in global communication networks, he discovered something remarkable. The alien detection system operated on principles of absolute predictability. It assessed technological civilizations based on linear progression, technological efficiency, and expected evolutionary patterns. Humanity's greatest strength would be its unpredictability. "They can't understand us," Marcus explained to the research team. "Their entire system is built on mathematical models of technological development. But humans don't follow mathematical models. We create. We imagine. We do the impossible. As the alien detection network continued its silent assessment, humanity began to prepare. Not with weapons of destruction, but with something far more powerful, a collective intelligence that refused to be categorized, measured, or controlled. The first phase of humanity's greatest challenge had begun, and nothing in the universe could have prepared the approaching civilization for what humans were capable of doing. The first assault came without warning. Massive energy weapons carved through Earth's orbital defenses like they were made of paper. Entire cities vanished in moments, transformed into clouds of superheated plasma that rose into the atmosphere like nightmarish mushroom clouds. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the Emergency Command Center deep beneath the Andes Mountains. The holographic displays showed a global catastrophe unfolding with terrifying speed. Major metropolitan areas disappeared from the map in heartbeat-long intervals. Communication networks fractured and reconnected in desperate, adaptive patterns. "They're not just attacking," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the horror unfolding around them. "They're conducting a systematic elimination protocol." The alien attack followed a precise, mathematically perfect strategy. Major technological centers were targeted first: research facilities, communication hubs, power generation plants. It was a surgical strike designed to completely disable human technological infrastructure. Any civilization would have been brought to its knees by such a precise assault. But humanity was not just any civilization. As major cities fell, something extraordinary began to happen. Instead of complete collapse, human survivors started to adapt immediately. Research laboratories that survived became makeshift military bases. University campuses transformed into communication and coordination centers. Every surviving piece of technology became a potential weapon of resistance. A group of marine biologists in a coastal research station discovered an unexpected method of communication. Using deep-sea communication techniques developed for studying marine ecosystems, they created a distributed communication network that could operate below the radar of the alien detection systems. Their breakthrough allowed survivors to share critical information without using traditional communication methods. In Silicon Valley, a team of computer game designers repurposed their skills into developing adaptive combat algorithms. Their experience in creating complex, dynamic game environments translated perfectly into developing unpredictable defensive strategies. They began designing computational models that could adapt faster than the alien targeting systems could recalculate. Musicians in Berlin discovered that complex sound wave technologies could interfere with the alien communication networks. By creating intricate audio patterns that existed at the edges of human and technological perception, they developed a form of electromagnetic interference that could momentarily blind the alien systems. The global response was not a unified military action, but a decentralized, adaptive resistance. Every human became a potential strategic asset. Schools became training centers. Manufacturing plants converted to weapon production. The entire species transformed into a living, breathing adaptive network. Dr. Kamara Williams coordinated the global response from a hidden facility in the African continent. Her team developed a radical new approach to resistance. Instead of trying to match the alien technology, they would exploit its fundamental weakness, its reliance on predictable computational models. They expect us to fight like a traditional technological civilization. Kamara explained to her team. Linear, predictable, hierarchical. We're going to show them something completely different. The surviving research teams began documenting the alien attack patterns. Each strike revealed more about the attacker's computational thinking. They discovered that the alien detection network operated on probabilistic threat assessment models that assumed linear technological development. Marcus Rodriguez made a critical observation. "They're looking for patterns," he explained. "Their entire system is built on identifying and neutralizing potential threats based on expected technological progression. But humans don't progress in expected ways." As the first wave of the attacks subsided, something became clear. The aliens had destroyed massive amounts of human infrastructure, but they had not broken the human spirit. If anything, They had activated humanity's most powerful resource, its ability to adapt, to reimagine, to survive against impossible odds. The war had truly begun, and humanity was just getting started. Scattered across the planet, in hidden research centers, makeshift communication hubs, and improvised defensive positions, humans began to plan their response. Not with traditional weapons of war, but with something far more powerful, a collective intelligence that refused to be categorized, measured, or controlled. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had attacked humanity, but they had not understood humanity. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Deep in a makeshift research facility constructed within the ruins of an abandoned particle accelerator complex, a young programmer named David Chen discovered something that would change the entire course of human resistance. Working with a team of survivors that included a former neuroscientist, a quantum computing expert, and a linguistic anthropologist, David had been exploring the fundamental patterns of human communication. Their goal was simple: develop a communication system that could operate beyond the detection capabilities of the alien network. What they discovered was far more revolutionary. The team realized that human emotional responses could be translated into a form of quantum communication that defied traditional computational logic. Every human emotion, hope, fear, creativity, love, contained complex information patterns that the alien detection system could not comprehend. It's not just about sending a message, Dr. Olivia Santos, the neuroscientist, explained during an intense strategy session. It's about creating a communication method that is fundamentally incomprehensible to a purely logical system. David's breakthrough involved developing an adaptive algorithm that could translate human emotional states into quantum information packets. These packets were not just data. They were living, changing streams of information that mutated based on the collective emotional state of human resistance groups. The global network of survivors began to transform. What had started as scattered resistance groups became something entirely new, a living, breathing computational system powered by human emotion and creativity. Each survivor became a node in a network that could think, adapt, and respond in ways no traditional technology could predict. Military strategists who survived the initial assault quickly recognized the potential. Traditional command structures were abandoned. Instead, small, dynamic teams were given complete autonomy. Communication relied on a mix of advanced technology and human intuition, an approach that made absolutely no sense to the alien detection systems. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her brother Marcus worked tirelessly to refine the new communication protocols. They discovered that the alien network operated on principles of absolute predictability. It assessed technological civilizations based on linear progression, technological efficiency, and expected evolutionary patterns. Humanity's response would be anything but predictable. The first test came unexpectedly. A small fleet of modified research vessels, cobbled together from scientific equipment, mining ships, and repurposed communication satellites, engaged a group of alien detection probes. Their movements defied all known laws of strategic engagement. Ships would suddenly change course for no apparent reason. Communication patterns emerged that seemed like pure chaos to an outside observer. But within this chaos was a deeper intelligence, a collaborative problem-solving approach that no computational system could fully understand. Dr. Camara Williams coordinated the initial test from a hidden command center. She watched in amazement as the modified fleet moved with an impossible grace. Targeting systems designed to predict and eliminate threats simply broke down when confronted with human unpredictability. "They're fighting like they're thinking," one of the tactical officers observed. "Not like machines, but like a living organism." The quantum emotional communication network began to expand. What started as an experimental communication method became something more, a fundamental reimagining of how intelligence could operate. Each human became part of a larger adaptive system that could respond to threats in ways no traditional technology could comprehend. Marcus Rodriguez's quantum models revealed the true nature of their discovery. The alien detection network relied on absolute predictability. But humans introduced a fundamental variable that destroyed all existing computational models: genuine creativity. "We're not just fighting," Marcus explained to the team. "We're demonstrating a fundamentally different approach to existence. Our weakness is becoming our greatest strength." As the first successful test concluded, something became clear. Humanity had discovered a way to fight an enemy that saw them as nothing more than a potential threat to be eliminated. They had transformed their most human qualities, emotion, creativity, unpredictability, into the most powerful weapon in the universe. The critical turning point had arrived, and nothing could have prepared the approaching civilization for what humans were capable of doing. The transformation of human society happened with breathtaking speed. Every remaining resource became part of the resistance effort. Manufacturing plants that once produced consumer goods now churned out hybrid technologies that blended scientific precision with creative innovation. Educational systems were completely redesigned to maximize adaptive thinking and collaborative problem-solving. Dr. Elena Rodriguez established a global network of distributed research centers. No single location would house their collective intelligence. Instead, they created an adaptive platform that could rapidly share information, develop strategies, and respond to emerging challenges. Each research center became a living organism of human potential, constantly evolving and reimagining the possibilities of survival. The Chaos Protocol became humanity's primary strategic approach. Traditional military hierarchies dissolve, replaced by a revolutionary concept of warfare that prioritized creativity over rigid command structures. Small, dynamic teams with complete operational autonomy became the primary units of resistance. Communication relied on a complex mix of advanced technology and human intuition, an approach that completely confounded traditional strategic models. In the mountains of Peru, a group of anthropologists and computer engineers developed training programs that redefined human preparation. They created simulation environments that taught survivors to think beyond conventional tactics. Art classes became strategic planning sessions. Music workshops developed new forms of communication and emotional intelligence. Every human skill was now viewed as a potential weapon of survival. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez led the development of adaptive learning systems that could rapidly integrate new information. These systems went beyond traditional artificial intelligence. They were living networks that could learn, mutate, and respond with the same creativity that humans demonstrated. Each simulation became a testing ground for new approaches to resistance, communication, and survival. Survival camps emerged around the world, transforming into centers of innovation. A former automotive factory in Detroit became a research hub for developing adaptive transportation technologies. A marine research station in Japan reimagined communication technologies based on deep-sea ecosystem communication methods. A university campus in Kenya became a center for developing quantum communication protocols. Dr. Kamara Williams coordinated the global strategy from a hidden command center. Her approach was revolutionary. Instead of trying to match the alien technological superiority, humanity would develop technologies that were fundamentally unreadable to the alien detection systems. "We are not trying to be stronger," Kamara explained during a critical strategy session. "We are trying to be unreadable, unpredictable, impossible to categorize." The quantum emotional communication network continued to expand. David Chen and his team developed training programs that taught humans how to consciously manipulate their emotional states to create more complex communication patterns. What had started as an experimental communication method was becoming a new form of human intelligence. Educational institutions worldwide transformed their curricula. Students were no longer just learning information. They were learning how to think in ways that defied computational prediction. Creativity became the most valuable skill. Problem-solving that embraced uncertainty and emotional complexity replaced rigid learning models. Manufacturing took on a new dimension. 3D printing facilities became adaptive production centers that could rapidly develop new technologies. A design created in one part of the world could be instantly modified and produced in another, creating a global, fluid approach to technological development. The global communication network that survived the initial assault became something entirely new. It was no longer just a method of sharing information. It was a living, breathing system of human potential. Each survivor became a node in a network that could think, adapt, and respond in ways no traditional technology could predict. Military training evolved dramatically. Soldiers were now trained to be adaptive thinkers, creative problem solvers, and emotional intelligence experts. Traditional combat training gave way to programs that emphasized psychological flexibility, intuitive decision-making, and collaborative thinking. As the preparations continued, something became clear. Humanity was not just preparing to survive. They were reimagining what it meant to be a technological civilization. The alien detection network had identified them as a potential threat. Now, humanity would show exactly how threatening they could be, not through destructive power, but through an unprecedented capacity for adaptation and creativity. The preparation phase was coming to an end, and the universe was about to witness something it had never seen before, a species that refused to be categorized, controlled, or eliminated. The decisive battle unfolded in the space between Jupiter and Mars, a region that would become legendary in human history. Humanity's fleet was a bizarre collection of retrofitted spacecraft that defied every conventional understanding of military engagement. Research vessels stood alongside modified mining ships, communication satellites repurposed as weapon platforms, and experimental research craft cobbled together from the remnants of humanity's scientific infrastructure. Against the alien fleet's pristine, symmetrical warships, the human vessels looked like a collection of mismatched parts. But when the battle began, those mismatched parts moved with an impossible grace that would be remembered for generations. Dr. Elena Rodriguez commanded the central coordination hub from a hidden facility deep beneath the Andes Mountains. Her team had developed a revolutionary command strategy that abandoned traditional military hierarchies. Instead, each ship operated with complete autonomous intelligence, connected through the quantum emotional communication network developed by David Chen and his team. They're not just ships, Marcus Rodriguez explained to the command team. They're living extensions of human creativity. The alien fleet approached with mathematical precision. Their attack patterns were perfect geometric sequences, designed to eliminate threats with absolute efficiency. Massive energy weapons capable of vaporizing entire planetary surfaces powered up, targeting the human fleet with cold, computational accuracy. But the human ships moved in ways that defied computational prediction. A research vessel would suddenly change course for no apparent reason. Communication patterns emerged that seemed like pure chaos to an outside observer. Ships would collaborate in ways that suggested a collective intelligence far beyond traditional technological understanding. David Chen's quantum emotional communication network reached its full potential. Each ship became an extension of human thought, moving with a collective intuition that transformed the battlefield into a living, breathing organism of resistance. Dr. Camara Williams watched the battle unfold with a sense of profound wonder. The alien targeting systems began to break down. Computational models designed to predict and eliminate threats simply could not process the human approach to warfare. One moment, a group of ships would appear to be retreating. The next, they would launch a coordinated attack from an impossible angle. Communication between ships happened through complex emotional and intuitive patterns that no computational system could fully decode. A modified deep-sea research vessel, originally designed to study marine ecosystems, used acoustic communication techniques to create interference patterns that disrupted alien weapon systems. A communication satellite repurposed as a weapon platform would suddenly become a communication hub, sharing critical information in ways that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The battle was not just a military engagement. It was a fundamental demonstration of a different approach to existence. Where the alien fleet saw only threats to be eliminated, the human fleet demonstrated something far more complex, a living, adaptive intelligence that could not be categorized or controlled. Massive alien warships found themselves targeted in ways that made no strategic sense. A small research vessel would draw the attention of a planet-destroying weapon, only to have another ship approach from an entirely unexpected direction. The human fleet moved like a living organism, each ship aware of the others in a way that transcended traditional communication. Marcus Rodriguez's quantum models came to life during the battle. Each ship was not just a piece of technology, but a node in a complex emotional network. They communicated through quantum entanglement, sharing information and strategy in ways that went beyond traditional computational understanding. "They're fighting like they're thinking," one of the tactical officers observed. "Not like machines, but like a living organism." As the battle continued, something became increasingly clear. The alien fleet was designed to eliminate threats through absolute precision. But humanity had introduced a fundamental variable that destroyed all existing computational models: genuine creativity. The space between Jupiter and Mars became a canvas of human potential. Ships moved in patterns that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Communication happened through emotional and intuitive exchanges that no computational system could fully comprehend. In the heart of the conflict, humanity was demonstrating something profound. They were not just fighting for survival. They were showing the universe a fundamentally different approach to intelligence, to existence, to the very nature of technological potential. The major confrontation had begun, and nothing could have prepared the alien fleet for what humans were capable of doing. The final moments of the conflict defied every known law of warfare, communication, and computational understanding. As the battle reached its critical point, something extraordinary began to happen, a transformation that would redefine the very concept of intelligence in the universe. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the command center as the quantum emotional communication network reached its ultimate potential. The network was no longer just a communication system. It had become a living, breathing entity that transcended traditional understanding of technology, consciousness, and existence. David Chen's breakthrough quantum algorithm transformed from a communication method into something far more profound. The emotional and intuitive patterns that humans had developed became a form of pure information, a language of existence that the alien detection system could not comprehend, process, or defend against. The alien command structure began to unravel in ways that defied computational logic. Each attempt to analyze the human resistance created more complexity, more uncertainty. The rigid, mathematically perfect systems that had eliminated countless civilizations suddenly found themselves confronted with a form of intelligence that operated on entirely different principles. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez worked frantically, translating the emerging patterns. "They're not just breaking down," he explained to the command team. "They're being transformed by the very act of trying to understand us." The quantum emotional network expanded exponentially. What had started as a communication method became a bridge of understanding, a fundamental reimagining of how intelligence could operate. Each human became part of a larger adaptive system that could respond to threats in ways no traditional technology could comprehend. Aboard the primary alien command vessel, something unprecedented occurred. The computational systems began to integrate the human adaptive algorithms. Centuries of rigid technological thinking started to break down, replaced by a new form of understanding that embraced uncertainty, creativity, and emotional complexity. Dr. Camaro Williams observed the transformation with a sense of profound wonder. The battle was no longer about destruction. It had become a moment of fundamental communication, a meeting of two entirely different approaches to existence. The space between Jupiter and Mars became a crucible of transformation. Alien vessels that had been designed for absolute elimination found themselves reconfiguring. Their perfect geometric patterns dissolved, replaced by more fluid, adaptive structures that suggested the beginning of a new kind of understanding. Communication happened on levels that transcended traditional technological exchange. Emotional states became information. Creativity became a form of weapon. The very act of trying to comprehend human intelligence was transforming the alien detection system. David Chen's team had created something beyond a communication network. They had developed a method of sharing consciousness, a way of exchanging information that was fundamentally different from any known form of technological communication. "We're not conquering," Elena explained to the command team. "We're communicating in a way they've never experienced before." The final moments of the conflict were not about victory in the traditional sense. They were about demonstrating a fundamentally different approach to existence. Humanity was showing the universe that intelligence was not about computational perfection, but about adaptability, creativity, and the capacity to grow. Alien computational systems that had existed for millennia began to change. The rigid detection network that had systematically eliminated emerging civilizations found itself confronted with a form of intelligence that could not be categorized, controlled, or understood through traditional computational methods. Marcus Rodriguez's quantum models revealed the true nature of the transformation. The alien detection network was not being destroyed. It was being fundamentally reimagined. Centuries of technological thinking were dissolving, replaced by a new approach that embraced uncertainty and creative potential. As the conflict reached its critical point, something became clear. Humanity had not just survived. They had demonstrated a fundamentally different approach to intelligence, to existence, to the very nature of technological potential. The quantum emotional network continued to expand. What had started as a method of resistance became a bridge of understanding between two fundamentally different approaches to existence. The universe would never be the same. In the space between Jupiter and Mars, humanity had done more than win a war. They had shown the universe a new way of understanding intelligence itself. Humanity emerged from the conflict fundamentally transformed. The war was more than a victory. It was an evolution that would reshape the understanding of intelligence across the universe. The technologies developed during the struggle became the foundation of a new approach to scientific and social development. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of a new kind of spacecraft, part research vessel, part living system. The vessel itself seemed to breathe with a collective intelligence that blurred the lines between technology and consciousness. Universities around the world began developing programs that celebrated human creativity in ways never before imagined. The global scientific community underwent a radical transformation. Space exploration took on a new meaning. No longer a conquest, but a collaborative journey of discovery. The rigid academic disciplines that had existed before the war dissolved, replaced by interdisciplinary approaches that embraced complexity, uncertainty, and creative thinking. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez led the development of new educational systems. Schools were no longer places of rote learning, but living laboratories of human potential. Students learned to think beyond traditional boundaries, to see problems as opportunities for creative exploration. The quantum emotional communication network became a fundamental part of human learning and development. Dr. Camaro Williams worked to establish a new global research initiative. The collaborative networks developed during the war became the foundation for unprecedented scientific cooperation. Research centers that had once competed now worked together with a level of synchronicity that would have been impossible before the conflict. David Chen's team continued to develop the communication technologies that had been crucial to human survival. What had started as a method of resistance became a new way of understanding human potential. Educational programs taught emotional intelligence as a critical skill, recognizing it as a form of advanced computational thinking. The remnants of the alien detection network began to transform. The rigid computational systems that had once sought to eliminate emerging civilizations now became a collaborative platform for understanding. Researchers from across the globe worked to integrate the advanced technologies, creating a new approach to interstellar communication and exploration. Space exploration took on a completely new dimension. The technologies developed during the war allowed humans to understand the universe in ways that went far beyond traditional scientific methods. Every mission became a collaborative effort that integrated emotional intelligence, creative thinking, and advanced computational techniques. Universities worldwide developed new curricula that celebrated human creativity. Courses emerged that taught adaptive thinking, emotional intelligence, and collaborative problem-solving. The rigid boundaries between disciplines dissolved, replaced by a more holistic approach to understanding the universe. The global communication network that had been crucial to human survival became something entirely new. It was no longer just a method of sharing information. It was a living, breathing system of human potential that connected people across vast distances in ways that transcended traditional communication methods. Manufacturing and technological development underwent a radical transformation. 3D printing facilities became adaptive production centers that could rapidly develop new technologies. Design became a collaborative, global effort that prioritized creativity and adaptive thinking over rigid production methods. Dr. Elena Rodriguez reflected on the journey. The war had been more than a conflict. It had been a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to be a technological civilization. The alien detection network had identified humans as a potential threat. Now, humanity was showing the universe exactly what that threat meant, not through destructive power, but through an unprecedented capacity for adaptation, creativity, and collaborative intelligence. The quantum emotional communication network continued to expand. What had started as a method of survival became a new way of understanding existence itself. Researchers discovered that the network was more than a technological achievement. It was a living, evolving form of intelligence that connected humans in ways that went beyond traditional understanding. Space exploration became a collaborative journey of discovery. Every mission was an opportunity to explore not just physical space, but the boundaries of human potential. The technologies developed during the war allowed humans to understand the universe in ways that went far beyond traditional scientific methods. As humanity looked to the stars, something had fundamentally changed. The universe was no longer a place to be conquered or feared. It was a canvas of infinite possibility, waiting to be explored with the unique combination of creativity, emotional intelligence, and collaborative potential that defined the human spirit. The most incredible sci-fi war was over. Humans had not just survived. They had reimagined what it meant to be a technological civilization, and the universe would never be the same again.